Good afternoon, everyone. To continue the report of Mr. Haugan, Chapter 8, Assessment in Affective Domain, the learning outcomes. At the end of this chapter, the student should be able to explain the meaning of assessing learning outcomes in the affective domain, discuss the soft skills in relation to assessment in the affective domain, cite the methods and tools for assessing learning in the affective domain, and develop assessment tools to measure learning in the affective domain. In this video, I will be discussing about the taxonomy of educational objectives. The taxonomy of educational objectives. The taxonomy in the affective domain contains a large number of adjectives in literature expressed as interest, attitudes, appreciations, values, and emotional sets of biases by Kratul et al. 1964. So, affective domain includes manner and describes the way we deal with things emotionally, and meaning to say it refers to the development and appreciation as well as the adjustment of students. By bringing challenge in their interest or attitude and values, so the feelings or students' emotion are usually attached with whatever is taught to a learner. No matter how smart or intelligent a person or a learner is, if that person is not willing to study and learn, he or she has no interest in things that have been taught to a learner, then learning will easily be forgotten. So at this point, future educators or pre-teachers must bear in mind that planning your lesson to gain student interest is very important. So in this manner, the students will enjoy the learning process. Kratul et al. 1964 Taxonomy of the Affective Domain describes the 5 categories or levels of affective learning. So these levels, which are listed from the simplest behavior, as you can see here in my presentation, from lower level to higher level. So the simplest behavior or the lower level to the most complex or higher level are receiving, responding, valuing, organization, and characterization, or the higher level. So we have a mnemonics here which we can use to easily remember the 5 levels of affective domain. So re, ris, voc. Re, ris, voc. Re stands for receiving, res stands for responding, voc stands for valuing, organization, and characterization. Receiving. Receiving is being aware or sensitive to the existence of certain ideas, material, or phenomena involved by actively responding to them. Examples include to differentiate, to accept, to listen for, and to respond to. Meaning, the learner simply receives the information that the student become aware of the knowledge being imparted to them. So at this level, the learning is in passive mode. He or she pays attention to what is being taught to them and listens attentively and tries to understand the lesson. But take note, learning cannot take place if a person or a learner is not willing to learn or has no interest in knowing it. So, like for example, the student listens attentively to the teacher and shows awareness of the importance of learning and attends closely to the classroom activities. At this level, the keywords in setting the affective learning domain in receiving are accept, attend, develop, and recognize. So, next is responding. Responding is being committed in some small measure to the ideas, materials, or phenomena involved by actively responding to them. So, examples are to comply with, to follow, to commend, to volunteer, to spend leisure time in, and to acclaim. So at this level, the learner is not passive learner but takes active participation during teaching learning process. This means the learner responds willingly and shows interest towards learning. So during the group discussion, the learner participates and tries to give ideas or give a presentation. Like for example, the student responds to the teacher's question and participates in a group discussion and gives a presentation. So at this level, the keywords in setting the effective learning domain are complete, comply, cooperate, discuss, examine, obey, and respond. Next is valuing. Valuing is to be perceived by others as attaching importance to certain ideas, materials, or phenomena. Examples include to increase measure, proficiency, and relinquish, to subsidize, to support, and to debate. Valuing means to appreciate or cherish something at this level. So at this level, the learner accepts ideas. So this means he or she responded and was able to see the value attached to the idea. So by this, the learner demonstrates devotion with the lesson imparted to the students and applying these values in their daily life. So in this situation, the student values learning and acted based on the beliefs and interest and becomes part of his values. For example, the teacher teaches students that they must tell the truth and always be loyal to their friends. So at this level, the students will not only listen, respond, but also follow their values and their lives. At this level, the keywords in setting the effective learning domain are accept, defend, devote, pursue, and seek. Next, organization. Organization is relating to the value to those already held and bring it into a harmonious and internally consistent philosophy. So examples are to discuss, to theorize, to formulate, to balance, and to examine. So organization, at this level, the learners start organizing and rearranging these values. They work for the values and they are committed to work on those values. So as they organize their values, the learners decide what is most important and what is least important. So for instance, at this phase, they will decide whether to pursue their careers or their passion. So in this way, they create their own unique value system. For example, he or she witnessed his friends stealing a book. So by this, he will then decide which is more important, to tell the truth or to be loyal to his friend. With this example, he will decide which is more important. So the learner, of course, will organize a specific value and decide which should be given priority. Next level is characterization. Characterization by value or value set is to act consistently in accordance with the values he or she has internalized. Examples include to revise, to require, to be rated high in the value, to avoid, to resist, and to manage and to resolve. So, characterization Let's now proceed to the highest level of affective domain, which is characterization or internalizing values. So at this level, the learners are able to integrate beliefs and attitudes. So here, the value becomes a part of this character and they are recognized by it. So since it is displayed by their behavior, so like for example, someone ask you, do you know Miguel, the kicker? So in this example, Miguel is known for his bad action, that he is kicking his classmates. So remember that at this level, the learners who capture new learnings do not just receive information, but they also respect and value whatever they learn, and they organize it and even internalize in this way. So the new learning acquired by the learners must help develop a positive attitude. So next is educational objectives in affective domain. More details and examples of the 5 levels of educational objectives in the affective domain. So first here level is receiving. The definition, being aware of attending to something in the environment. So the example here is the individual would read a book passage about civil rights. Second, the responding, showing some new behavior as a result of experience. The example, the individual would answer questions about the book, read another book by the same author, another book about civil rights, and etc. Valuing, showing some definite involvement or commitment. Example, the individual might demonstrate this voluntarily attending a lecture on civil rights. Next is organization, integrating a new value into one's general sets of values, giving it some ranking among one's general priorities. So the example, the individual might arrange a civil rights rally. Characterization by value. So acting consistently with the new value. Example, the individual is firmly committed to the value, perhaps becoming a civil rights leader. Behavioral verbs appropriate for the affective domain. So receiving, the keywords or verbs are accept, attend, develop, and recognize. For responding, the keywords or verbs is complete, comply, cooperate, discuss, examine, obey, and respond. For valuing, the keywords or verbs are accept, defend, devote, pursue, and seek. For organization, the keywords or verbs are codify, discriminate, display, order, organize, systematize, and weigh. For characterization, internalize, and verify. Methods of assessing learning in the affective domain. Change in attitude, values, and habits is the end result of effective teaching learning in the affective domain. Change in attitude is manifested in our change our beliefs, feelings, aspirations, and attitudes towards something or someone. These changes in our beliefs and values in turn have an impact on our level of motivation and concept of self-efficacy. The student, him or herself, knows the changes that are taking place or can be observed by a third party. So, as a student, you know the changes that is taking place or that can be observed by others or a third party. The witness are those who are around me or around you at school, like teachers and classmates. Also, our parents, like for example, in classroom, the teacher observe if you are participating in class activities, group activities, and if you passed assignments on time. And it's all about your attitude and behavior, being a responsible student. So, teachers, parents, and classmates, they are the witness of your changes or the changes of a person or a student. So, next is observation is a popular method of assessing learning in the affective domain. Has a student imbibed the value of punctuality? So, one way to know a learner is to observe, like for example, if he or she comes to school on time. So, another way is to observe if he or she submits subject requirements on time or for his or her appointment on time. There are three feasible methods of assessing learning by Macmillan, 2007. So, first is the teacher observation. The two others are student self-report and peer ratings. So, these methods of assessing learning in affective domain make use of tools such as Likert scale, semantic differential, checklist, and sentence completion. So these methods will be discussed after these methods of affective domain. So there are two methods of teacher's observation. First is unstructured observation, or also known as open-ended observation. It gives more freedom to record what information is to be observed and how it is recorded. It can be done through note-taking, mental note-taking, and diary note-taking. Structured observation, it is different from unstructured because more time is needed for the preparation of the materials and the process of recording the observation. So, structured observation, this involves the use of checklists, rating scales, and also the use of rubrics. So in this type of observation, recording is more systematic because the teacher will attend only on the predetermined aspects of affective traits. So in this case, this is more reliable and valid information. Among different observation, it is easier to obtain. To make teacher observation work in relation to the assessment of effective learning, the following should be observed. So, determine behaviors to be observed in advance. Record students' important data such as time, data, and place. If unstructured, record a brief descriptions of relevant behavior. Keep interpretations separate from descriptions. Record both positive and negative behaviors. Have as much observation of each student as necessary. Avoid personal bias and be objective. Immediately record the observation. Apply a simple and efficient procedure. A student may also do observation of classmate or peer for his or her peer observation to be reliable like the teacher. The overall purpose of the observation must be made clear. So, students or the learner can observe each other or equal. Maybe he or she is your classmate or friend that you may know or you may not know very well. That's all.